This act's kind of terrible unless I can do this, which I don't think I can do. If I'd gotten better whale bonuses. I guess if I can kill one elite with a campfire lead-in, I actually have an okay act. If I can't start here, kill this elite, and get into this stuff, it's just kind of a bad act. I guess there's 100 gold and go here, but then there's no real payoff. Like, go this way and double store, which I don't want to do. Go this way and get 2 elites into second store, which again, I don't really want to do. Also, this is just way too many hallway fights. There's too many hallway fights everywhere, though. Transforming 2 for 18 damage. I think Defect cards are too awkward to do that. Like, Defect's card pool is pretty good, but a lot of the cards don't start working until Act 2. You like to play the game by speedrunning it and then dying to the first boss every time. Well, at least you're making it to the first boss. Not terrible. Yeah, I think I just take 100 gold instead of removing a card. Probably? I don't know. What card would I remove? Defend? Slime Boss Act? Alright, let's remove a Defend. I think it actually makes my deck worse. The immediate fights. But I drew well for this one, so it's okay. Arrakis, thanks for the 41 months! It's a very bad hand. I guess it wasn't worth it for me to save 1 health last turn. I find that kind of hard to believe. Okay, Fire Potion is actually huge. Fire Potion is such a big deal. Hello World? How do you even... How do you even evaluate Hello World? Does anybody know what it does? I don't know if I've ever even read it. Is it good? Alright, hello world. Antelope, thanks for 47 months. You decide to increase your skill by asking what would Jorbs do before every play based on your win rate. I'm not very good at the game. Oh no. My Twitch Go Live notification still says Frosthaven. Yeah, I can't fix that with how I'm streaming. So I'm just not going to. Sorry. I think Hello World is a scaling power D minus. Probably like D. Generating commons every turn is fine in some fights, but Hello World achieves this very slowly. Consider picking it up for a bad Lagavulin fight or Hexaghost fight, but usually it's a safe skip. Alright, white noise. Fuck, how do you analyze white noise? I think I call this like a scaling power C minus. Invariance. Becomes a better card as the run goes later and more powers become relevant as scaling. Also a sensible pickup if your run is in the trash and you need to get a lucky power to survive the next 1 or 2 boss fights. Or more streamlined decks built around non-power synergy. This is a skip. Am I analyzing upgraded versions 2? Like separately? Sweeping beam. Not loaded damage C minus. Card draw D. No K pickup if no other damage options exist, but much less exciting. And defects, stronger damage cards. I have so much less to say about defect cards than I have to say about other character cards. I feel like defect's so complicated, but also most of defect's shit just doesn't work. So like mostly you just only take it if your run is shit, and the rest of the time you build like one of 2 things. White noise for 0 is great, but at 1 is low value in your opinion. Well, I mean, one of them costs 1 less energy than the other. I feel like that's pretty straightforward without me having to write it. Do I take a sweeping beam here? There's a Hello World video by Louis Zong with the same name. I would like a sweeping beam. Sure. It's like fine. Is it good? Not really. Alright. Steam barrier. Block card. I guess C minus strength block card. 0 cost. Plus. Unterrible pickup if you end up with excess card draw before your block is worked out, but will tend to be outshone by force field later in the game. Tend to be massively outshone by force field, achieving the same thing over twice as well later in the game. We should define 0 cost. Synergy space revolving around card draw plus 0 cost cards plus all for 1. Actually optional, but definitely one of the main payoff. Main selling points. Actually optional. One of the main selling points. Claw can work as damage here, but it's unnecessary. What? Why did the cursor just go over there? What button did I press? The basic idea is that card draw plus decent zero cost cards is already strong, and adding all for one creates a burst of excess value, which can push it over inflection points into being strong enough to survive several fights. You've never been happy with upgraded white noise. You've been happy with upgraded white noise, but never without. I mean, that just sounds like you are very insensitive to when energy is valuable and when it isn't, because sometimes it doesn't really matter whether white noise is, like, for example, what if you had Snecko-Eye? Like, how can you, like, Snecko-Eye is in the game, how can you, anyway, never mind. Alright, go for the eyes. It is a block alternative. It's actually pretty good. Like, getting weak into your defect deck is not bad at all. It's a zero cost. It's a good zero cost card. It is kind of front-loaded damage, but like not in a way that's exciting, really. It's like a C. Not actually a mandatory early game pickup, but one of the commons in the game that can actually improve in strength as the run goes longer. Tends to improve early game fights, not by a huge amount and at the cost of one chaff card in late game decks which don't want it. I am generally unclear on whether late game defect builds into structures which want to go for the eyes often enough to justify grabbing one of these early compared to it building into card spam or power spam synergies which benefit a huge amount from not having extra chaff in them. How do I structure this in a way that's more useful? Nobody cares what I think. Also, I should just pretend to be certain about everything, because people are going to read this and they're going to want to feel like they're in safe hands. Value depends on whether you tend to build into structures which want a go for the eyes often enough to justify grabbing one of these early. For example, what do I call the aggregate defect synergy package? Usually I call it like pile. Pile synergies. Example, pile synergies, zero cost synergies. Nothing going Crescent method. Do I plan on playing Slay the Spire 2 when it comes out? That feels like a very silly question. Alright, cold snap. Block alternative. C+. Unloaded damage. C. And frost. Snowball. It's funny. C. Good early game common, which can be a relevant enabler for frost synergies late game, although bullheaded and glacier are both much more appealing options if they are available. The first one's so good, why would I play the second one? I mean, yeah. You're not wrong. Synergies around gaining focus, orb slots, and frost orbs in order to block. In order to outblock almost every enemy in the game. Defragment plus ×2 capacitor plus and frost orbs is already 36 block per turn, and synergies are easily pushed beyond that much with cards like Biased, Cognition, Echo Form, etc. Can be somewhat slow, so benefits usually from turn 1 relics and card draw options. Fission, cool-headed. What else do you say about frost? Tends to need very little help with damage outside of potions, relics, / electrodynamics / etc. for the Reptomancer. Fights, as it's able to outblock every other enemy in the game. Like algorithm. Wait, you say genetic algorithm here? Benefits usually from turn 1 relics and card draw options. Genetic algorithm can also help out a lot to get set up. Apparitions are also strong here as you're consistently blocking after the start of the fight, so low max HP is less dangerous than otherwise might be. Tends to need very little help with damage outside of potions. Relics, electrodynamic successor for the Reptomancer fight is able to outblock every other enemy in the game. Yeah, that sounds right. Alright, so having read on all that, I think I take the full stop. Straightforward. How important is artifact stripping on Defect? You either go for it or you don't. If you do go for it, it's largely so you can apply weak. So like using Go for the Eyes as artifact stripping is actually kind of backwards. It's more that you are artifact stripping in order to use Go for the Eyes. Am I not gonna try and knock on Coffin? I feel like you could work this out by, like, I don't know, reading the announcements in my Discord or something. for watching my stream. Good fight, good fight. Took 0, I believe. Heat sinks. Heat sinks is a fascinating scaling power. It's like a D+ scaling power. Card draw. D+. Watch out for Mummified Hand in particular as a massive boost to the strength. This card, Mummified Hand plus Heat Sinks, is sort of an entire synergy space on its own. Like, I literally streamed that game the last time I streamed. He asserted Saffron. I excel at gaming. Thanks, Doc Barker. I'm doing this for colorless cards as well. Why not? Not at the moment, though. There is an inflection point somewhere in most Defect runs where Heat Sinks becomes a reasonable card to pick up. We're looking for a decent saturation of low-cost powers and enough energy gain to justify having the extra draw. That said, a lot of decks which have enough powers for Heat Sinks to be good are capable of winning without Heat Sinks anyway, so watch out for adding extra variants to draw order. Actually, does Heat Sinks have relevant variants? Because if you don't draw it until the bottom of your deck, it doesn't matter that it's in your deck. That is kind of a I've never really thought about it that way before, I don't think. It's only really painful for variants if you care about, like, turn 4 or 5, which is often the case. But if you have a, like, truly strong power scaling deck, I don't think there's that much downside to putting Heat Sinks in your deck, because if you draw it on the bottom of your deck, you're probably already set up and strong enough for that not to matter. Weird. I think a lot of decks, though, it does matter what happens on turn, like, 4 or 5. Tricky. Ryan, thanks for the 6-9 months. Hey, and this guy flickering. I think we can note needs upgrade on this as well. It's a very good upgrade. Like, if you're interested in Heat Sinks, you probably are interested in Heat Sinks Plus, like, significantly more than that. I guess, like, I want to add this more to scaling powers, actually. Scaling power. An important consideration with scaling powers is how much of each turn you want to be spending on playing them. Some decks fights call for spending most of your energy on blocking or attacking, making it hard to make good use of scaling powers. On the other hand, if you have help with block or attack on early turns from relics, or are fighting an enemy which spends early turns buffing / attacking for small amounts, you may want to spend almost all of your energy on scaling powers. Some runs call for delicate attention to which scaling powers go into the deck, so your hand isn't flooded with ones you can't afford to play anyway, while others call for you to add almost any scaling power you can find to your deck, so you're able to beat late game boss fights after your early game cards / relics get you through Act 1 and 2. I think that's the thing that I want to say about heatsinks, is like, sometimes you have a deck which wants to play 5 powers, and like heatsinks would get you to be able to draw those powers faster on average, but your deck doesn't actually have the ability to spend that much energy on the powers in the early turns of the game anyway. So it's like, your 5 powers are meant to achieve something for you on turn 4 or 5, and making it so they achieve that for you on turn 2 actually just makes it so you die on turn like 1 and 2. Like, it doesn't actually, like, it would have been better to just play your other cards to survive until turn 5 and then your powers take over, than to take a heatsinks and make it so you can get everything deployed a little bit faster, but at the cost of playing your other cards, which were going to help you survive anyway. I don't think I've, like, noted power spam as an archetype yet. Fuck, I said archetype. I'm trying very hard not to say archetype. Synergies around storm, focus, heatsinks. Often aided by mummified hand and or bird-faced urn. Strong versions can kill awakened one by outscaling it, or by killing it so fast it can't kill you first. Or, in the case of heavy storm decks, by killing it so fast it can't kill you first. Can be awkward to assemble because many of the powers can't be taken first. You can happily take electrodynamics or defragment. No other powers in your deck, but it feels quite painful to take a heatsinks or storm in that situation. I tend to aim for a few powers in every Defect deck. As at worst, they can make a force field cost 0 to make my infinite block against the heart. If I'm ending up on an infinite which doesn't care about powers otherwise. And in other runs, they might turn into orb scaling or power scaling. Feels like a win more card. Storm can be your primary source of damage. You do need damage to win. There are lots of decks which don't have damage and as such will lose, and then if you put damage in them, they start winning. Next Paradigm, thanks for 44 months. How long until we get Slay the Spire College with me as the professor? I have thought about publishing a book that's just like basically a strategy guide like this. Or making a YouTube lecture series. I kind of want to make a lecture series about like what makes Slay the Spire good, because so many people make roguelikes now and they're all so bad. They're also really good, but they get a lot of stuff that's just like, we already worked this out in Slay the Spire 5 years ago. Wrong. Like, Slay the Spire balances whether you want to end a fight or not, so that you have interesting decisions about whether to delay fights. And like, I've almost never played any other roguelike which does that. Like, almost every other roguelike is either we rely on the players to end the fights at a brisk pace so they don't bore themselves to death, or there is always the same answer to how long you want to spend on each fight. Whereas Slay the Spire like has reasonable balance going on there, where it's like, well, sometimes you'd like to stall in a fight to get a relic on a certain number, sometimes you want to end the fight quickly because the enemy is very dangerous. There are lots of intuitive reasons why you want to end a fight faster, right? Because you win the fight by ending it. But the reasons you might want to end the fight slower are kind of like myriad and less intuitive. It's like you want to stack relics on certain numbers, you want to like double play a self-repair off of Echo Form. You want to end the fight with a feed or a Hand of Greed. Stuff like that. Anyway, so this Spire is very good. Sapphire, you're going in timeout. Yeah, we're going in timeout. While also avoiding the need to stay in the fight for hundreds of turns. Oh yeah. Also a very big deal. A lot of roguelikes like don't understand that you have to force the player to leave at some point. In fairness, Slay the Spire has a few really degenerate stall situations in it as well. Alright. What are we up to? Did I write about heat sinks? I think I did. Aggregate. Oh god. Oh, fucking hell. Energy card. It's like an A- energy card, I want to say. It's very good. Aggregate is a very good card. Should I take Aggregate here? Am I an Aggregate main? Do I have any card draw? Kind of. I have a Sweeping Beam. I might be an Aggregate main. It's a very bad card at the moment. If I draw it on turn 1, it makes +1 energy. And at any other point in the fight, it is a curse. Sounds kind of bad. This is run-defining card. If your deck can make Aggregate, generate lots of energy, and spend all of that energy, it will usually win the fight shortly afterward. Unless it is very poorly built for whatever fight you're in. i.e. poor output per card against Time Eater or Heart. The inflection point where you start picking up aggregates is very fluid, depending on other relics and cards that you have. So far, it can be a pick as early as Act 1. It can be worth anticipating with card picks before you've even found it. In other runs, it can be completely irrelevant and unusable. As Ronnie thinks to the 40 months. Of thoughts about entering the World XL Championship. Not even slightly. I have no desire to make my hobby into a job on that front. Synergies around aggregate, stack, and being able to pile a large number of scaling powers into one deck without drawing all of them at the same time. 0 cost plus all for 1. Sometimes defect decks start to bloat and card count early, making aggregates and stacks very appealing to take. Other times they stay lean and win off of infinite strong value cards, or more focused power scaling. Quaizon, thanks for 42 months. Appreciate it. If you know a lot about XL, someone who knows every multi-stage hotkey is capable of blowing your mind. Multi-stage hotkey. What does that even mean? You can make buttons and spreadsheets. I'm pretty sure I knew that. Barrage. Front-loaded damage. C-, maybe C. It's like, it's pickable. Defect's front-loaded damage cards are very weird because Ball Lightning is so incredibly good, and then all the other ones are kind of shit. So if you don't get offered Ball Lightning exactly, it's like, well, I guess I'll just take random garbage. There's a little bit of orb scaling here. But like, not really. Passable early damage card, which can also turn into relevant late game damage every now and then. And runs with good orb scaling. I'm gonna call this frost scaling. I guess it's frost snowball. Even though it doesn't have a cold orb on it, I feel like Barrage is very much a frost orb deck kind of card. Do not recommend going out of your way to ensure you have a copy of this, but it is a non-terrible option. If you find you have no good source of damage going into late game with good frost orbs. Why get proficient in Excel when you could do stuff in SQL? SQL? SQL is just Excel without the GUI. Like, I'm sorry, I have to speak truth to power here. I will take up Barrage. I have to fight penalty. Ooh, this time there aren't the mad gremlins. That's useful. Imagine needing a GUI. Some of us are not as powerful as you, okay? So, oh, that's probably useful. I do have a fire potion here if, like, yeah, okay, we're good. If it went, like, terrible, though, I did have a fire potion. Alright, we have found Storm. As I was recently mentioning, Storm is like, it's like a capstone card of power snowball decks. But you don't really take it on floor 4. It's just like, it's weird. It's weird. Like, when you're offered a really, really good Ironclad card on turn 4, like a card on Ironclad that's really good late game, you probably just take it, right? But with Defect, I feel like there are so many cards that are good late game that you can get offered on turn 4, which you just can't take at all. What if I'm wrong? What if you, like, can take them? Anyway, it's like a C- scaling power. I guess we can say it needs upgrade. It's probably true. There are surprisingly many avenues towards Storm becoming a good card. Vision means that it doesn't need to be making relevant damage. It can be used for card draw and energy. Do you say you like divert it into card draw and energy? Transform it into card draw and energy? Can be. Orbs it generates can be utilized for card draw and energy instead. Damage it deals can be extremely relevant when paired with focus. Storm has no effect unless another power is played afterwards. Unbelievable. But I think Storm's a Magic the Gathering reference. Maybe. Seems plausible. Anthony seems like he's played a lot of Magic the Gathering. I don't know if Casey has. Storm deals enough damage in certain circumstances that you can full commit to it and win a run with almost no ability block if you're able to play and accelerate out powers fast enough. Pick up enough max HP or defensive relics to survive turn 2 and 3 against the heart. Enough max HP, potions, or defensive relics. Pick up max HP, potions, or defensive relics. Okay, like that, sure. Sweeping Beam, we already talked about. Static Discharge. Oh my god, Static Discharge is also an incredibly complicated card. Fuck. This character is very complicated. I think Static Discharge is like a C+ scaling power. We'll say C. I guess it participates in Power Snowball, but not really very meaningfully. It's actually really good in Frost builds. Like, surprisingly good. Deals a huge amount of damage in lots of fights. Creates orbs, which can be used for damage, evoking other orbs, or consumption by fission. Huge interaction on turns where you'll be attacked multiple times. If you have frost orbs channeled, taking damage with static discharge in play will evoke your first frost orbs, giving you block against future attacks. I'm going to call this block alternative, I guess, also. This can sometimes make 40+ block against hearts. 15 attack and can absolutely single-handedly turn lost runs into wins sometimes. Huge interaction. It's really important to know that about Static Discharge for playing the card right. And it isn't like immediately obvious that it exists, or even if you notice that it exists, it isn't immediately obvious that it's like important. I'm gonna put this in bold. I've talked to a lot of people who have played a lot of Slay the Spire who have just never considered even slightly that Static Discharge can make you like dozens of block on the hardest turn of the game. You like a block alternative? Nice. Exclamation mark Spire here is the link to my Spire spreadsheet at the moment. Maybe we make it. Maybe we make Spire link to it. What does Spire currently do? Nothing. All right, we're gonna add aliases to this command. It will also be. Wait, what? That doesn't work. That's... Alright, now if you type Spire or Spire Sheet or Spire Year, they should all link to the same thing. You've seen me use Static Discharge in that way, but it's hard to wrap your head around exactly how it'll work all the time for some reason. I have like one of the most significant runs I ever played was when I went 8-0 for the first time on Ascension 20 with Heart, and it was a Defect run. I spent 30 minutes, I think, planning out 3 turns with Static Discharge and Frozen Eye to block perfectly in the Heart fight. But yeah, it took me 30 minutes. Like, it's not immediately intuitive. You do kind of have to do math on it. I don't remember what I'm doing. Static Discharge is not very good in Slime Boss. We take it anyway. I've just talked such a big game about it. Interesting. Interesting spot. I don't have a lot of block cards. $24 should be okay. It just barely did it. Defragment, Tempest, Reprogram. Oh my god, every single one of these cards is so hard to talk about. This character's wild. Okay. So Defragment is a scaling power. I would say it's like a B or something. Like a B plus. The thing is, that's like its baseline, and then like it rapidly gets much better than that as you pick up other things that are synergistic with it. I could go with Frost Snowball, Power Snowball. Needs upgrade. Focus makes all your orbs do more. That's really good. Important when analyzing. Keep in mind that focus also makes orbs you evoke do more. Seen lots of people analyze the value of focus as the number of orbs they have times the amount of focus they gain. But if you're evoking 5+ orbs in a turn, which is absolutely possible, you're getting another 5 instances of focus, generating extra output per turn that you aren't counting. Focus, which is kind of like focused is most straightforwardly, I think that's a word. Is it hyphenated? I don't know. Most straightforwardly accessible through defragment, but it's hard to get enough to win the run off of it out of only defragments. Need to combo them with Echo Form, or add Consume plus Capacitor, or Biased Conch plus Artifact Charge to be able to consistently outblock the game. Directly accessible. No, I want to, like, I'm saying straightforward because, like, the other options kind of are combos. Can I speak to weaken not really affecting defect? Well, a lot of defects attacks are not how defect deals damage. A lot of defects damage is dealt by orbs. So that makes weak less relevant. Weak does affect defect though, in my experience. I would not say that defect is not affected much by weak. I think weak is a huge problem in some very dangerous fights, because in the fights where you can't rely on your orbs to kill everything, you have less access to attack damage to kill stuff. Against slavers, for example, if you get weakened early and you're like reliant on Asunder to get through the fight. Rest in peace. Focus isn't in the glossary. I guess I'll put focus in the glossary. Card draw energy, value card, block card, scaling power, effect removal. Oh no, I haven't put strength or dexterity in the glossary. Alright, what was I writing about? Tempest? I have no fucking idea what Tempest does. Just don't know. There's an X cost combo thing here, but it's like the worst of them. There's front-loaded damage, but not good front-loaded damage. This is mostly an awkward card which does so damage and can occasionally become relevant late game with Recycle or Chemex. The rich man's zap. The rich person's zap. X-cost cards have a few positive interactions with defects. Card pool. One recycle counts your current energy as the cost of the X card. So if you have 4 energy and target Tempest with recycle plus, you will end up with 8 energy. Essentially, X cost cards are double energy. X cost cards plus recycle combine together to become double energy. 2 Echo Form plays both copies of an X card with the same X value. So if you have 4 energy and Echo Form a reinforced body, you'll end up with 8 energy worth of block. This can be a big deal for surviving dangerous turns. What's the other X cost card that Defect has? I can't remember right now. What? Multicast. 3 multicast is just generally a strong card, especially when combined with Dark Orbs. And so wanting to have access to it makes things like buying an early Chem X or taking an early cycle a little more appealing. You're not sure that the Defect would consider itself as a person either, to be fair. That's true. And is energy really what makes us rich, or is that the company of our friends? Reprogram. Garbage gimmick. F. Reprogram does have a use case. Decks with extremely little access to orb scaling. Which have good hand manipulation to make up for being very hard for Defect to block for long periods of time without frost orbs. Even if you make lots of dexterity, still have to draw block cards on the right turns, and that's quite hard for Defects. They're cool. Other than that, the program is almost completely unpickable and is usually the best to remove if you, in your deck, if you have one from transforming into it or misclicking. Full Wagon, thanks for the 55 months. Appreciate it. Needs upgrade. Does need an upgrade. I'm gonna take defragment. Alright, I'm at 43 health. We have to easily get through this elite with these potions. I don't hate zap upgrade. I think I go for defragment upgrade though. With a cold snap and a static discharge already. Sounds right to me. Essence of Steel, pretty good in this fight. Reprogram needs to be effective really early when you just get attacks and defense cards and no orb generation. Reprogram needs to also come with completely ignoring all orbs. Yeah, it's still bad. In the situation you have described, it is still a bad card. I'm not gonna fire potion this so I can go through Grumble Knob. Sentries should be an okay fight for me. Just need to finish killing this one. And then get one more Frost Orb. That's okay. Ladder Opener, Explosive Potion, Sweeping Beam I've already talked about, Rebound, and Rip and Tear. Rebound, also a very hard card to analyze. God. Defect's so hard because Defect has, I think, more distinct ways of winning with an endgame deck than Ironclad or Silent, and those distinct ways step on each other's toes a lot. Like, you kind of want to pick one and avoid the others. Whereas with Silent and Ironclad, it's like mostly fine to like have some strength gain in your exhaust deck or whatever. But Defect is like, no, those extra cards actually really hurt your ability to go infinite or to deploy your scaling powers to make a block with Frost Orbs or to get your Storm power thing going or whatever. You want more streamlined decks and less clutter. But because of that, it's really hard to evaluate different cards because, like, their evaluation is very dependent on whether that is the late game strategy that you want to go for or not. And like that's very hard to judge. It's very hard to judge, one, because unless you're an expert at all of them, like the ones that you're most familiar with are the ones you're going to have the most success with. So like you're never personally going to get an unbiased read on which one's best. And then two, like you're not meant to just go for the same one every time. You're meant to like pick different ones based on what's going on in the run. Like letter opener probably significantly influences what my endgame build is trying to be here. Not because letter opener is really good in endgame, but because letter opener drastically changes my ability to bridge from early to endgame with sets of cards that are skills, and as such heavily pushes me toward building endgame skill-based strategies, so like card draw, card spam, recycle infinite. It pushes me away from power-based synergies, like the Defect I already have. But then like I already have a Defect 1+. So with Defect, you're like constantly being asked to make very granular, very specific judgments on where you're aiming for late game in situations where taking the wrong card can absolutely kill you late game, and you may not have any experience with this exact scenario before, even if you've played like thousands of runs on the character. So, Defect's fucking hard. I think Defect is the character that human players play the worst. I think Defect's also the character that human players have the worst success on. It's not like there's like a robot player that's better than us. I'm just like I'm separating human players from like an ideal perfect player who made the right plays based on the information that they had so far all the time. Because I don't know if Defect, like if we keep playing the game for another 20 years, I don't know if Defect on this balance patch would remain the worst character. Like I actually have no idea. I think we're way worse at Defect than we are at other characters. We would enjoy a list of known / useful infinites in Slay the Spire. I mean, there are so many infinites in Slay the Spire. Anyway, what are we doing? We're looking at Rebound. Yeah, Rebound is an example card where like this card has some use and is actually a really useful card in some strategies, but is just like absolutely terrible in, for example, a strategy that's reliant on playing as many powers as it can as quickly as possible. Generally, Rebound shows up because you want the damage. It's like a C tier, front loader damage card, and then it's a C- for hand manipulation, maybe. Combos decently well with tile synergies and zero cost synergies, and leads to some okay value based plays in early and mid game, but can be a dead card in power based strategies which desperately want to have no dead cards in them. Whether you take this is going to be based on where you think the run is going, unless you're desperate for the damage. Both me and Dog often make the case, I haven't seen this exact game state before, so I don't know what is good. We both downplay our strong abilities to extrapolate. No, I just know that I don't know. Like, I cannot extrapolate to that. Like, just like, no, I can't do that. It is like way too hard. Rip and Tear is like an A+ or maybe even S- tier front-loaded damage card. You're just gonna often put it in your deck, and other than that, it has no role. This kills early game enemies and isn't useful for anything else. Actually, because Ball Lightning exists, I think I have to make this like an A- or B+. Because Ball Lightning exists, this only gets a B+ on unloaded damage and runs where you don't have Ball Lightning yet, or another broken damage option. It's a very appealing card. Here I'm not going to take it because I have a letter opener, and I'm not going to take Rebound. I only have 5 skills on my deck. A bit awkward. I was planning to like kill an elite or something, and also there's a slime boss. Maybe I do take it. No, I don't think so. Skip. Alright. Extrapolating inherently means acting in the places where you don't have the data you think that I'm good at it. I mean, so maybe I can succeed more than almost any other human in these situations, but I'm also aware that I haven't worked out what the right option is in them yet. Like, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be worse at finding a good option than other players. It just means that, like, there are situations in Slay the Spire where I can say with confidence that a certain option is right, and in a lot of Defect situations, I do not know which option is right, and I am, well, yeah, I'm extrapolating, which carries with it, like, that means a lot of things. It means that I cannot be certain about my strategy. It means that I have to try different things to see how different things work, to check if I'm wrong. Stuff like that. I could rest here. Gremlinob. Gremlinob actually like can kill me from 25, I think, even with 30 damage and potions. Could draw my deck upside down. And a cold snap. Yeah, I think I'll rest. Gremlinob's just really scary. Whetstone. Sure. Gremlinob's slightly less scary. Like Slime Boss slightly less scary. Sometimes you just have to guess. Yep. With this draw, Gremlinob is not scary. That's lethal, right? Or as hell hope so. Alright, good. Preserved Insects makes future Gremlinobs even less scary, and there is a Ball Lightning. I already talked about Steam Barrier. Leap. Block card. C-. That's it. Actually significantly reduces the amount of damage the starter deck takes in hallway fights. That said, you'd really prefer not to have to take this card, as it almost never develops into a relevant endgame card, and this character often struggles to win with decks full of bloat. You don't see garbage gimmick in the glossary. I kind of assumed that it would be self-explanatory. I think that's all I have to say about Leap. Leap's a fairly straightforward card. I feel like the times when I want to take Leap are not that hard to understand. I guess I could actually explain that a bit better. Can be worth picking up for slower decks going into Act 2. No sustain, as the amount of health it saves in early Act 2 fights can be very significant. I think that's worth saying. I feel like usually when I pick Leap, it's not actually at the beginning of Act 1, it's at the end of Act 1 when I'm like, gee, I found no way to block, and I'm gonna get attacked for 21. Kind of haven't found any way to block yet, by the way. Like, it's maybe not that terrible Leap. Anyway, Ball Lightning. Yeah, it's like a C for Frost Snowball as well, even though it doesn't make a Frost Orb, I think. It evokes Frost Orbs for you. It is very strange that most of Defect's damage commons deal 6 to 9 damage for 1, and this one deals 20 plus damage for 1. That's the world we live in. It used to upgrade to deal 11, and then I made a YouTube video saying that that was just slightly too egregious, and it got nerfed to upgrading to deal 10. Got him. Picking up a Ball Lightning or 2 puts you in an extremely strong position where you can deal enough damage to get through early game while bridging into late game orb synergies easily. Hey, Goody Fell. Hey, Leonette. Sorry about that. Doesn't Darkness count as Frost Snowball then? Haven't written anything about Darkness yet. I have to decide whether I want this card or not. I guess so. I really have no block. Hopefully we find some block relics very soon. I think actually I would not have taken that if I wasn't writing all the shit in the spreadsheet. I'm gonna call that one an unforced error. I think we're past the need for Ball Lightning, and I want to make Letter Opener happen, so taking a non-skill is actually, like, quite measurably bad. It's probably okay. Alright, please don't kill me, Lagavulin. Is this lethal? 30, 40... No. Almost, though. I think I get to play Defend here. It deals 4 less damage, but I'm sure that's fine. Alright. Shuriken. That is not a very good Defect relic. Alright, Stack. Stack is a fascinating one. Stack is another... There are so many cards where there's like an inflection point where you start taking them and the inflection point is fluid. Like there's an inflection point where you start taking Catalyst for Silent, but I feel like it's so easy to tell what it is. Although actually, I guess different people have different opinions about it probably. I feel like Defects, like half of the cards in Defect's card pool have inflection points on when you take them, and it's very unclear where any of those inflection points are. But stack is a block card. It's a pretty bad block card, like a D. But it's also a pile snowball card. And in pile snowball, it's like a B minus, maybe? A completely unimpressive card in most runs, which occasionally turns into apparition. Strongest with Runic Pyramid. Or Equilibrium. For obvious reasons. All this variance as well. Inflection point is somewhere around having 30 cards. I'm gonna say having 25 cards, some sort of hand manipulation, and not having enough block from other sources. What do I mean by fluid? They depend on several variables. Yeah. Yes. There isn't like a switch where like if that switch gets flicked on, you start taking it now. There's often just a like slow growth in the card's value over the course of the run, and when exactly it crosses into worth taking is like up to you to judge. Front loaded damage B. Block alternative B plus. I actually think it's actually like an A minus block alternative. The artifact charge does an awful lot. And then Frost Snowball A minus. Excellent card with good relevance for dealing damage in Act 1, blocking debuffs to help survive Act 2, and then comboing with Core Surge to... I want to write Pog off, but I have too much self-respect to Pog Champ off. Is Pog off really worse to write than Pop off? Like, actually, I don't know that it is. How many people are as much of an expert as me at Slay the Spire? I have played over 9,000 hours of this game. I think in terms of like hours committed to Slay the Spire, like depending on how you count the hours Casey and Anthony have put into it, I'm probably, you know, pretty close to number one, if I'm not number one. And comboing with Core Surge to create immense focus for a late game engine in Act 3 or 4. There is usually a good enough reason to pick this when it's offered, unless it's up against something very strong. Alright. Core Surge is a like very complex card, which like in terms of the decision to take it or not is actually pretty easy to understand. Blessing of the Forge is better than Explosive Potion because it can block for me. Even though I'm going against Slime Boss. Alright, So my understanding of Slay the Spire is that I click on Armory and I win the game. However, I'm also kind of down. It's been 2.5 hours of the stream. I think I'm kind of down to stop writing stuff in the strategy guide at this point. So I'm going to look at 5 card rewards, but I'm not going to write 15 different cards worth of strategy. Pile Driver, Core Surge, Cold Snap. Well, that's an Electrodynamics. I'll take that. Slime Boss is solved. I think Boot Sequence pretty good here. Boot Sequence pretty good anytime you don't have like a way to block on turn 1 yet. I can take Compile Driver. I could take Stack. Stack could be my way to block. I think I'd rather just draw Electrodynamics faster. Take another Cold Snap. I don't know. Can remove strike by self-repair. And leaving is just okay. I'll take one more Cold Snap. Not too bad. The pack with Turbo Compile Driver Cold Snap is fascinating. I don't know. I don't think it was that interesting. I might actually upgrade self-repair here. My sustain's so bad. I mean, my sustain doesn't exist. My ability to not die is so bad. 3 health per fight. The thing is, like, Electrodynamics presumably kills the enemies before they deal me 3 damage. A bit too often for that to make sense. Get rid of that. I have successfully increased my focus, so my singular lightning orb now deals more damage. I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. Thank you. I'm gonna call you Yoshi for the raid. Is that what your name says? That'd be very convenient. Why be shy? If only there was some way to know for sure. Alright. We are through Act 1. Did better than Silent. Fission Echo Forum Buffer. Ooh, those are good ones. I think I'm taking Fission. I have no card draw. I have a letter opener. Double Cold Snap. I think it's Fission. Astrolabe. 1, 2, 3. Astrolabe seems kind of like the only pick here. Can't really take Fusion Hammer. Defect likes upgrades way too much. Suzu's just worse than having potions usually. And I got energy from Fission anyway. Did I transform Barrage? No. Not with Shuriken. Alright, so we have a Barrage plus, a Loot plus, and a Stack plus. Cool. I don't totally hate it. Interesting act path. I already streamed the game that you're asking about, Nolzar. Why don't you just watch my streams? Unbelievable. I'm hurt. So like blocking Frail doesn't do that much here because I don't have any block cards anyway. It's pretty awkward. I play this for the damage. I probably just win next turn. It would be nice to play self-repair as well. And it would be nice to like not die. You know? Alright. Pretty good fight. Duplication Potion, Defragment Plus. I guess this is a Jorbs and Focus deck. Looks like. Duplication Potion. Over Fire Potion? I guess so. Fight. Ascension is by far one of the best Defect cards. By far one of? I think I do take Chill. I have Letter Opener, I have a bunch of Focus and Little Block, and I have a Fission. Do I want to kill that this turn? I guess the downside of doing that is Chill only makes one Frost Orb now. Oh, it's not a terrible Avocado Rat fight. Or is it? Wait a second. Why are you attacking for 31? Isn't that, like, kind of unreasonable? Yeah, this is not an example of a situation where Stack Plus is very good, unfortunately. Alright, no more damage this fight. To 48 though. Ow. Go for the eyes plus. No card draw. Letter Opener. I think I'm taking it for the Act 2 Elite fights. Doesn't work against the Act 2 boss either. It's an awkward card. But I decided I wanted it. No strikes for me. I wouldn't hate Apparitions. So I think one more question mark. Although, like, getting a cool-headed from here would be really nice. Right now I'm going to upgrade probably Fission, which is fine. Got a blue key. How do I mean ball lightning deals 10 plus damage? Just like count how much damage it deals, and the answer is 10 plus. This is an example of us getting weakened in the Slavers fight. Hopefully I draw electrodynamics soon. It's actually a decent stack plus. Alright, eventually I will draw electrodynamics, right? Like it's in my deck or something. I think we did it. Well done, everybody. Yay, we won the fight. Okay. Could have just drawn it turn 1. Just saying. Found an Akabeko, found another Fission. That is interesting. So I'm like trying to draw cards off double Fission. I could take the Amplify. I think Fission is a bit better. Hey, Chang Gang, doing well. Holy shit, Akabeko. Just immediately relevant. Huge. Well done, Akabeko. Sprat the Dead Bard. Thanks to the Prime. Awkward. Yep, I sure don't have any block. Oh, probably should have played Barrage first. I'm sure it never matters at this point. In fact, maybe it's better to deal less damage so I can... draw self-repair more often. Oh, if Electrodynamics is my bottom card, this is actually dangerous. It's kind of painful. 18 plus 15 is 33, I guess. Loop. Why? Shit. Tungsten Rod's a good relic. Oh my god. At some point, I actually can't take more of those. I think maybe a reinforced body. Okay, strawberry is interesting. I think now I'm fighting this. We got the wrong order from Book of Stabbing. Very dangerous, maybe just dead. I don't know, I have Static Discharge, I have Tungsten Rod. I have Frost Orbs. This is either lethal or it isn't lethal, I guess. Currently, Frost Orbs evoke for 7 block exactly. That's not gonna work. I think I get 2 procs, which should win. Actually, do I just full block? No. Wait, maybe? So I have 6 block. I get hit for 1, which gets reduced to 0. And evoke for 11 block. I get hit for 2, and I get hit for 6. So I do die at the end. But first, I kill you, presumably. It'll be lethal for someone. Wait, it was lethal for me? What the fuck? What health was it on? I was like 99% sure that I was winning that fight. It was on 6? Shout. Well, GG. I'm gonna wait a second. I would like to open my run history without the game crashing. How long do you think it takes? Oh, that was long enough. 27. Strong orb scaling start, which took too much damage in Act 2 and died. 4 block, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I have to like not take these cards. Probably.